Nothing says your marriage is circling the drain, quite like watching your wife text someone else while you're talking to her. I'm standing in our kitchen, holding a burnt bagel that could double as a hockey puck, watching Erica's fingers dance across her phone screen with more enthusiasm than she's shown me in months. So I was thinking we could grab dinner tonight, I say, knowing full well I'm talking to the back of her head. She doesn't even look up, just makes this little humming sound that could mean anything from "sure, honey" to "drop lifeless, you pathetic excuse for a husband." I'm Nick Garrison, 39 years old, and apparently invisible to my own wife. I work IT support for a mid-sized insurance company, which means I spend my days explaining to people why turning their computer off and on again actually fixes most problems. The irony isn't lost on me that I can troubleshoot everyone's technical disasters except the system failure happening in my own home. Erica finally glances up, her perfectly applied makeup already in place, even though it's barely 7 in the morning. She's always been particular about her appearance, but lately it's reached obsessive levels. Every hair has to be perfect, every outfit coordinated, every social media post carefully curated to maintain her image as the successful HR manager with the picture-perfect life. "Can't do dinner," she says, already looking back at her phone. "Girls' night." That makes 3 girls' nights this week. Either her social circle has suddenly become incredibly needy, or something else is going on. Given that she's been treating me like I have some contagious disease, I'm leaning toward the latter. "Right," I say, tossing the burnt bagel in the trash. "3rd one this week. You ladies must have a lot to catch up on." She shrugs, fingers still tapping away. "Fiona's going through a rough patch with Chris. She needs support." Fiona Martinez is Erica's best friend and the kind of person who treats other people's business like her personal entertainment system. She's 32, works as a wannabe social media influencer, and has never met a piece of gossip she couldn't spread faster than wildfire. If Fiona's having relationship problems, the entire neighborhood will know about it by lunch. "Maybe I should call Chris," I suggest. "See if he wants to grab a beer while you're providing emotional support." Erica's head snaps up, and for the first time in weeks, I have her full attention. "No, don't do that. He's not handling things well." Interesting. Very interesting. The way she's looking at me right now, like I just suggested setting the house on fire, tells me there's more to this story than Fiona's relationship drama. "Okay," I say, keeping my voice casual. "Just thought I'd offer." She relaxes slightly, but her grip on that phone stays tight. I should get going. Big day at the office. Erica works in human resources for a marketing firm downtown. She's good at her job, probably because she has a natural talent for reading people and figuring out what makes them tick. Unfortunately, she seems to have lost interest in using that skill on her own husband. She grabs her purse and heads for the door, pausing just long enough to give me a quick peck on the cheek. It feels about as genuine as a politician's campaign promise. "See you tonight," she says, already halfway out the door. "Thought you had girls' night." "Right. Late then." And she's gone, leaving me alone with my thoughts and the lingering scent of her expensive perfume. The same perfume she's been wearing more of lately, along with outfits that seem designed to attract attention from someone who isn't me. I finish getting ready for work, my mind churning through the past few months. The distance between us didn't happen overnight. It started small. Less conversation, fewer shared meals, separate bedtimes. Then came the new workout routine. Erica suddenly developed a passion for fitness that required her to spend hours at CrossFit gyms instead of her usual yoga classes. "I need something more intense," she'd explained when I asked about the change. "Yoga isn't challenging enough anymore." The irony wasn't lost on me. Our marriage wasn't challenging enough anymore either, apparently. My phone buzzes as I'm locking the front door. Text from my buddy Raj, who tends bar at Murphy's downtown. "Coffee before work? You look like you need it." Raj Patel has been my friend since college. He's got this uncanny ability to read people's moods from across a crowded room, which makes him excellent at his job and occasionally annoying as a friend. But he's also the most reliable person I know, and right now, I could use some reliability in my life. 20 minutes later, I'm sitting across from Raj in a corner booth at Mel's diner, watching him doctor his coffee with enough sugar to fuel a small aircraft. "So," he says, stirring his coffee with the concentration of a scientist mixing volatile chemicals, "want to tell me why you look like someone stole your lunch money?" "Marriage stuff," I say, which is both completely accurate and utterly inadequate. "Ah." Raj nods, like this explains everything. The mysterious Erica and her sudden social calendar. You notice that? Hard not to. She's been at Murphy's twice this week with her girlfriends. Well, I say girlfriends, but it's mostly just Fiona and some guy I don't recognize. My coffee suddenly tastes like motor oil. Guy? Yeah, big dude. Drives one of those souped-up Dodge Chargers that sounds like a freight train having an argument with a jackhammer. Seems to know Fiona pretty well. I set my cup down carefully, trying to process this information without jumping to conclusions. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's Fiona's boyfriend, Chris. Maybe it's some random friend who happens to have terrible taste in vehicles. Did they seem... I search for the right word. Friendly? Raj gives me a look that suggests I'm being deliberately obtuse. "Nick, I've been tending bar for 15 years. I know the difference between friends having drinks and people who are planning to get better acquainted later. There it is. The thing I've been trying not to think about for weeks, laid out in plain English by someone who has no reason to sugarcoat the truth." "Right," I say, surprised by how calm my voice sounds. "Well, that's something to think about. You okay?" Honestly, I don't know yet, but I will be. The rest of the day passes in a blur of password resets and printer malfunctions. I go through the motions of my job while my mind works on this new information. By the time I get home that evening, I've made a decision. Erica's car isn't in the driveway, which doesn't surprise me. Girls' night, after all. I let myself into the house and immediately notice something different. The place feels staged like a model home. Everything's too clean, too perfect, too impersonal. I start in the bedroom, not really sure what I'm looking for. Her dresser drawers are organized with military precision, but I notice some new additions. Lingerie I've never seen before, still with tags attached. Perfume bottles that weren't there last week. A receipt from Victoria's Secret tucked behind her jewelry box. The receipt is dated 3 days ago. $237 worth of items I've definitely never seen her wear around the house. My laptop is still logged into our shared cloud storage account, something Erica apparently forgot when she started living her double life. Her photo backup is automatic, which means every picture she takes gets saved whether she remembers or not. I scroll through recent uploads, and there it is. Photos from her girls' night 2 weeks ago. Except it's not just girls. There's a guy in several of the pictures, and he matches Raj's description perfectly. Big, muscular, the kind of guy who probably calls everyone bro, unironically. He's got his arm around Fiona in some shots, around Erica in others. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. But it's the last photo that stops me cold. Erica and this guy, faces close together, her hand on his chest, both of them looking at the camera with the kind of satisfied expressions that tell a very specific story. I close the laptop and sit on the edge of our bed, trying to figure out how I feel about this confirmation of what I already suspected. Angry? Sure. Hurt? Definitely. Surprised? Not really. What surprises me is the clarity that comes with finally knowing the truth. For months, I've been wondering what I did wrong, how I could fix whatever was broken between us. Now I realize the problem isn't something I can solve, because I'm not the one who broke it. My phone buzzes. Text from Erica. Going to be really late. Don't wait up. I stare at the message for a long moment, then type back, no problem. Take your time. She responds with a heart emoji, which feels like adding insult to injury. I spend the evening researching divorce attorneys and private investigators, making notes and bookmarking websites. If Erica wants to play games, I need to understand the rules first. She comes home at 2 a.m, trying to be quiet but failing spectacularly. I pretend to be asleep as she stumbles around the bedroom, reeking of alcohol and cologne that definitely isn't mine. The next morning, she's back to her usual routine, perfectly put together and glued to her phone. I make coffee and watch her scroll through messages, probably coordinating with her new boyfriend or comparing notes with Fiona about their evening adventures. Good night last night? I ask, keeping my tone conversational. Fiona's feeling better about things with Chris. The lie comes so easily that I almost admire her technique. Almost. That's good. I ran into Raj yesterday. He mentioned seeing you at Murphy's. She freezes for just a second, but recovers quickly. Yeah, we stopped by for a drink. Fiona wanted to get out of the house. With Chris? No, Chris wasn't. He's not ready to go out yet. We met up with some other friends. More lies, delivered with the confidence of someone who thinks they're smarter than everyone else in the room. I nod and sip my coffee, filing away every word for future reference. I'll probably work late tonight, I tell her. Big project deadline coming up. Okay, I might do something with Fiona again. She's still pretty fragile. Of course she is. That afternoon, I leave work early and drive to CrossFit Iron, the gym where Erica has been spending so much time lately. I park across the street and wait, feeling only slightly ridiculous about conducting surveillance on my own wife. I don't have to wait long. At 4:30, Erica's Honda pulls into the parking lot, followed immediately by the Dodge Charger Raj described. They park next to each other, and I watch through binoculars as Erica gets out of her car and walks over to the driver's side of the Charger. The window rolls down, and she leans in for what's definitely not a handshake. They talk for a few minutes, her hand resting on the doorframe, his hand reaching out to touch her arm. Then she steps back, gives him a little wave, and heads into the gym. He sits in his car for another minute, watching her walk away, then drives off. I follow him at a distance, curious about where my wife's boyfriend goes when he's not seducing other men's wives. He leads me to an apartment complex about 10 minutes away, not exactly the upscale neighborhood I would have expected. The Charger parks in front of a ground-floor unit with a small patio cluttered with workout equipment and empty containers. I drive past without stopping, but I make note of the address. Information is power, and right now I need all the power I can get. That evening, Erica comes home from her workout, glowing with the kind of satisfaction that has nothing to do with physical exercise. She's chatty over dinner, telling me about her day at work and asking about mine with more interest than she's shown in months. You seem happy, I observe. Just feeling good about things. Work's going well, I'm getting in shape, spending time with friends. Life's good. That's great, honey. You deserve to be happy. She smiles at me, and for a moment I see the woman I married 5 years ago. The woman who used to laugh at my jokes and steal bites of my dessert and fall asleep with her head on my shoulder while we watched movies. Then her phone buzzes, and she's back to her secret world of text messages and hidden smiles. I think I'll turn in early, I tell her after dinner. Long day tomorrow. Okay, I'll be up in a bit. Want to catch up on some shows first? I kiss her goodnight, and she actually kisses me back with something approaching genuine affection. It's confusing and painful and makes me wonder if I'm making a mistake by not trying to fight for our marriage. But then I remember the photos, the lies, the way she's been treating me like an inconvenience in my own home. Some things can't be fixed, and some people don't deserve second chances. From the bedroom, I can hear her talking on the phone, voice low and intimate. She's probably making plans for tomorrow night's girls' night, or describing her day to someone who actually holds her interest. I close my eyes and start planning my next move. If Erica wants to play games, I'm going to make sure I win. The Riverside Motel isn't the kind of place you'd choose for a vacation, but it's perfect for a man who needs to disappear for a while. $49 a night gets you a room that smells like industrial disinfectant and broken dreams, but it also gets you anonymity and a place to think without your cheating wife pretending to care about your day. I've been here for 3 days now, living off vending machine coffee and gas station sandwiches while I figure out my next move. Erica thinks I'm on a business trip to Chicago, which gives me the freedom to conduct my investigation without her looking over my shoulder. The story I fed her was simple. Emergency client meeting, probably be gone for a week, don't wait up. She tried to look disappointed, but I could see the relief in her eyes. A week without having to pretend she still loved me was probably exactly what she needed. My temporary headquarters consists of a rickety desk, my laptop, a legal pad covered in notes, and enough caffeine to power a small city. I've been mapping out Erica's lies like a detective working a case, and the picture that's emerging isn't pretty. Stan Kowalski looks exactly like what you'd expect from a private investigator who advertises on bus benches. 60-something, rumpled suit, coffee stains on his tie, and the kind of world-weary expression that comes from spending decades watching people at their worst. "So," he says, settling into the motel room's only chair with a grunt, "your wife's stepping out, and you want to know with who, when, and how long it's been going on. That's the general idea. And you want this information for divorce proceedings, I assume?" Among other things. Stan raises an eyebrow but doesn't push for details. He's probably seen enough messy divorces to know that sometimes people need more than just legal ammunition. My rate is $200 a day plus expenses. I'll need a retainer of $1,000 up front, cash. I hand him an envelope. There's $1,500. I want to know everything about this guy she's seeing. Name, address, employment, financial situation, relationship history, parking tickets, everything. You got a name for me to start with? Working on it, but I've got his address and a description of his car. Stan takes the information and promises to have preliminary results within 48 hours. After he leaves, I get back to my own investigation. Erica's social media accounts are a goldmine of information once you know what to look for. Her Instagram shows a carefully curated life of work achievements, girls' nights, and workout selfies. But the metadata tells a different story. Photos supposedly taken at various locations around town were actually all taken within a few blocks of each other, near that apartment complex where I followed the charger. Her Facebook check-ins paint a similar picture. Dinner with the girls at restaurants she's never been to, spa day at a place that doesn't exist, shopping trip to a mall that's been closed for renovations for 6 months. But it's her Spotify activity that really gives her away. Erica's musical taste has always been pretty predictable. Pop hits, classic rock, the occasional country song. But lately, her playlists have been heavy on explicit rap and R&B, the kind of music she used to complain about when it came on the radio. I cross-reference the timing of her new musical preferences with her girls' nights and workout schedule. The pattern is clear. Every time she's supposedly at CrossFit or out with Fiona, her music choices get decidedly more adult-oriented. A deeper dive into our financial records reveals some interesting discrepancies. Erica's been spending money on things that don't show up around the house, expensive dinners at restaurants I've never been to, purchases at stores in parts of town she has no reason to visit, gas station charges that don't match her usual routes. But the real revelation comes when I hack into her email account. I know this makes me sound like some kind of cyber criminal, but the truth is much more mundane. Erica uses the same password for everything, our wedding anniversary followed by her birth year. Not exactly NSA-level security. Her inbox is full of promotional emails from dating websites I've never heard of, discount codes for lingerie stores, confirmations for hotel reservations made under her maiden name, and most damning of all, automated messages from something called discreetconnections.com. I create a fake profile on the site using a photo of some random guy I found on a stock photo website. Within minutes, I'm browsing profiles of married people looking for extramarital entertainment. And there she is. Erica Fun 34, with photos I recognize from her Instagram, describing herself as married but looking for excitement and seeking athletic men who know how to treat a lady right. Her profile has been active for 4 months, which means this affair started long before I noticed anything was wrong. She's been planning this, cultivating it, lying to my face while building a relationship with someone else. I scroll through her message history, and my stomach turns. Dozens of conversations with different men, explicit photos, detailed descriptions of what she wants to do and have done to her. It's like reading about a stranger who happens to look like my wife. But one conversation thread is longer than the others, more recent, more intimate. The username is FitnessFirst36, and the profile picture shows a muscular guy in a gym selfie. I can't see his face clearly, but the build matches what I observed at the CrossFit parking lot. Their messages read like a romance novel written by someone with no imagination and a limited vocabulary. He calls her baby and gorgeous. She calls him stud and my strong man. They make plans to meet, share fantasies, and count down the days until her boring husband goes out of town. The most recent exchange is from yesterday. Fitness First, 6. Can't wait to have you all to myself this week. Your husband still think you're working late? Erica Fun 34. He's so clueless. Thinks I'm in Chicago on business. We could have a sleepover and he'd never know. Fitness First 36. My place or that hotel you like? Erica Fun 34. Surprise me. Just make sure you're ready for me. I close the laptop and sit in the dark for a while, processing what I've learned. The betrayal is worse than I imagined, but so is the opportunity. Erica thinks she's been clever, but she's actually been creating a detailed record of her infidelity. My phone rings, interrupting my thoughts. It's Stan. Got some preliminary information on your boy, he says without preamble. Name's Travis Jeffers, goes by TJ, 36 years old, manages the CrossFit gym where your wife works out, lives in that apartment you gave me, drives the Charger, and has a history of sleeping with his clients. How much of a history? Let's just say this isn't his first time breaking up a marriage. I talked to a bartender who knows him, says TJ's got a reputation for targeting married women. Apparently, he likes the challenge. What else? He's got some financial problems. Behind on rent, maxed out credit cards, drives a car he can't afford. The gym doesn't pay much, and he's been supplementing his income by offering personal training services that aren't exactly approved by corporate. Personal training? If you know what I mean, and I think you do. I thank Stan and ask him to keep digging. There's got to be more, some weakness I can exploit, some leverage I can use. The next morning, I drive back into town and park outside Erica's office building. I want to see her in her normal environment, watch how she acts when she thinks no one's paying attention. She emerges at lunchtime with a woman I recognize as Marta Gonzalez, her work rival. They're not friends. Erica has complained about Marta for years, calling her vindictive and jealous. But here they are, having what looks like a very serious conversation. I follow them to a nearby cafe and manage to get a table close enough to eavesdrop. Marta is asking questions about Erica's personal life, probing for information about her marriage and her new fitness routine. Erica's being evasive, but Marta's persistent. You just seem different lately, Marta says. Happier, more confident, like you've got a secret. Erica laughs, but it sounds forced. No secrets, just taking better care of myself. Must be some workout routine, you're glowing. Clean living and good genes. But Marta doesn't look convinced, and I can see the wheels turning in her head. She knows something's up, she just doesn't know what yet. After they part ways, I follow Marta back to the office and wait in the lobby until she comes back down for a coffee break. Excuse me, I say, approaching her carefully. You're Marta Gonzalez, right? You work with my wife, Erica Garrison. She looks suspicious, but nods. Yes, Is everything okay? I hope so. I'm planning a surprise party for Erica's birthday next month, and I was hoping you could help me figure out who to invite from work. She's mentioned you before. It's a lie, but a harmless one. Marta's expression softens slightly. That's sweet of you. Erica's lucky to have such a thoughtful husband. She's been working so hard lately, staying late, weekend projects. I barely see her anymore. Really? That's strange. Erica usually leaves right at 5. She mentioned having a new workout routine that she's really committed to. Right, the CrossFit thing. She's obsessed with that gym. CrossFit? Marta looks confused. I thought she was doing yoga. She's always talking about finding inner peace and balance. Interesting. Erica's been lying to her co-workers too, probably to maintain her image as the devoted wife and dedicated employee. Maybe I got confused, I say. She tries so many different things. Well, whatever she's doing, it's working for her. She seems like a completely different person lately. I thank Marta for her help and head back to the motel to plan my next move. Erica's been building a house of cards, and I'm starting to see how to bring it down. Stan calls that evening with more information about TJ. The guy's a walking disaster. 3 previous jobs at different gyms, all ending badly when he got involved with clients. A history of bounced checks and unpaid bills. An ex-girlfriend who filed a restraining order last year. This guy's bad news, Stan tells me. Your wife picked a real winner. What about the ex-girlfriend? Amber Chen, bartender at a place called the Rusty Anchor. Apparently TJ cheated on her with multiple women, then tried to get her fired when she confronted him about it. Think she'd be willing to talk? For the right approach, probably. She's got no love for TJ, and from what I hear, she's not shy about sharing her opinions. I make a note to visit the Rusty Anchor soon. If TJ has a pattern of behavior, his ex-girlfriend might be able to help me understand his weaknesses. But first, I need to set the stage for what's coming next. Erica thinks she's been clever, but she's about to learn that her boring, clueless husband is full of surprises. I open my laptop and start typing. It's time to let TJ know that his secret isn't as safe as he thinks. The Rusty Anchor lives up to its name, a dive bar that looks like it was decorated by someone with a grudge against natural lighting and a fondness for maritime disasters. The kind of place where the beer is cheap, the music is loud, and nobody asks too many questions about why you're drinking alone on a Tuesday afternoon. Amber Chen is exactly what I expected from Stan's description, sharp-eyed, sharp-tongued, and carrying the kind of attitude that comes from dealing with difficult customers and disappointing men. She's wiping down glasses behind the bar when I walk in, and her expression suggests she's already sized me up and found me wanting. "What can I get you?" she asks, not looking up from her work. "Beer, whatever's on tap, and maybe some information if you're in a sharing mood." Now she looks at me, one eyebrow raised. "Information costs extra. What kind of information?" "The kind about Travis Jeffers." Her expression hardens. "You a cop?" "No, just a guy with a TJ problem." She pours my beer and slides it across the bar. "Join the club. What's he done to you?" "He's sleeping with my wife." Amber lets out a short, bitter laugh. "Of course he is. That's TJ's specialty. Married women who think they're missing something in their lives. Let me guess. Your wife started working out at his gym, he gave her some special attention, made her feel young and exciting again?" Something like that. "And now she's sneaking around, lying about where she's going, spending money on new clothes and lingerie you never see her wear?" I nod, impressed by her accuracy. "Yeah, I've heard this story before. TJ's got it down to a science. He targets women who are bored with their marriages, makes them feel special, then moves on when things get complicated. Your wife's probably not his only current project." "What do you mean?" Amber leans against the bar, warming to her subject. "TJ likes to keep multiple options open. When I was dating him, I found out he was seeing at least 3 other women at the same time, all married, all convinced they were his one true love." "How'd you find out?" "Same way you probably did. Started paying attention to the details. TJ's not as smart as he thinks he is. He recycles the same lines, takes them to the same places, even gives them similar pet names. No imagination whatsoever. She reaches under the bar and pulls out a folder stuffed with papers. I kept records when I figured out what he was doing. Screenshots of his dating profiles, photos of him with different women, even some of his text messages that I grabbed off his phone. I flip through the folder, and it's like looking at a playbook for adultery. Multiple dating site profiles, all with slight variations of the same bio. Photos of TJ with different women at the same restaurants, same hotels, same generic romantic locations. Why'd you keep all this? Insurance. TJ tried to mess with my job when I broke up with him, spread rumors about me to my boss. I wanted to make sure I had ammunition if he pushed things too far. Did he back off? Eventually, but only after I showed him what I had on him and explained how his gym's corporate office might feel about their manager using the facilities to run a side business in home wrecking. I study the documents more carefully. There are screenshots of conversations between TJ and various women, all following the same pattern. Initial flirtation, escalation to explicit content, promises of discretion and special treatment, then gradual cooling off as he moves on to new targets. Mind if I make copies of some of these? Take whatever you want. Consider it a public service. I photograph the most damaging documents with my phone, making sure to capture TJ's dating profiles and some of his more explicit conversations with previous victims. So what's your plan? Amber asks as I finish documenting TJ's pattern of behavior. Still working on it, but I think TJ's about to discover that actions have consequences. Good, he's had this coming for a long time. I finish my beer and leave Amber a generous tip. She's given me exactly what I needed. Proof that TJ is a serial predator and my wife is just his latest victim. My next stop is FedEx office, where I spend an hour creating flyers using TJ's dating profile photos and some of his more colorful text messages. The headline reads, "Is this your personal trainer?" followed by screenshots of his conversations with married clients. I make 50 copies and head to CrossFit Iron. The gym is busy with the evening crowd, which is perfect for my purposes. I wait until the front desk is unmanned, then quickly distribute my flyers in the women's locker room, tucking them into lockers and leaving them on benches where they're sure to be found. The men's locker room gets the same treatment, along with a few extra flyers posted on the bulletin board next to announcements about protein powder sales and weekend warrior competitions. By the time I'm finished, TJ's extracurricular activities are about to become very public knowledge among his clientele. I position myself across the street to watch the fallout. It doesn't take long. Within 30 minutes, I see women emerging from the locker room with flyers in their hands, talking animatedly to each other and pointing back toward the gym. Some look angry, others embarrassed, a few seem amused by the drama. Then TJ himself appears, jogging out to the parking lot with a panicked expression. He's holding one of my flyers and looking around like he's trying to spot whoever's responsible for his public humiliation. His phone starts ringing, and I can see him having increasingly agitated conversations with different callers, probably gym members who recognize themselves in his message history, or their husbands who've just learned some uncomfortable truths about their wives' fitness routines. The coup de grace comes when a woman I don't recognize marches up to TJ in the parking lot and starts yelling at him loud enough for half the neighborhood to hear. She's waving one of the flyers and pointing at his charger, and her voice carries clearly across the street. "You told me I was special," she shouts. "You said your other clients were just business." TJ tries to calm her down, but she's having none of it. She reaches into her purse and pulls out what looks like a bottle of water, which she promptly dumps over his head. "Tell your wife I said hello," she yells, then storms back into the gym. TJ stands there, dripping, looking around the parking lot at the small crowd that's gathered to watch his public dressing down. His phone rings again, and this time his conversation is brief and clearly unpleasant. I start my car and drive away, satisfied with the evening's work. TJ's reputation at the gym is probably ruined, which means his income stream is about to dry up. And if Erica's been watching the drama unfold, she's got to be wondering what other surprises might be coming her way. But this is just the opening move. TJ and Erica think they've been clever, but they're about to learn that their secret affair is about to become very public knowledge. The next morning, I drive by Erica's office and spot her car in the parking lot. She's supposed to think I'm still in Chicago, which gives me the freedom to observe her normal routine without raising suspicions. I call her from a burner phone I picked up yesterday. "Hey, honey," I say, trying to sound tired and stressed. "How's everything at home?" "Fine," she says, but her voice sounds strained. "How's Chicago?" "Exhausting. Client meetings all day, probably won't be done until late tonight. Might have to extend the trip another day or two." "Oh." She tries to sound disappointed, but I can hear the relief. "Well, don't work too hard." "I'll try. What are your plans for tonight?" "Probably just stay in, catch up on some reading. Maybe Fiona will come over." More lies, delivered with practiced ease. I wonder if she's planning to spend the evening comforting TJ after his public humiliation, or if she's already looking for a replacement. "Sounds relaxing. I'll call you tomorrow." "Love you," she says, and the words sound so hollow I almost feel sorry for her. After hanging up, I drive to the neighborhood where we live and park down the street from our house. Mrs. Conway is working in her garden, which means the neighborhood's information network is fully operational. Mrs. Conway is 65, retired from nursing, and has made it her mission to know everything about everyone within a 3-block radius. She's not malicious about it, she genuinely cares about her neighbors, but she also can't resist sharing interesting developments with anyone who'll listen. "Nick," she calls out when she sees me walking up the street. "I thought Erica said you were out of town." "Just got back." I lie smoothly. Meetings got canceled, so I decided to surprise her. "That's sweet. She'll be so happy to see you." "I hope so. Has she been okay while I was gone?" I worry about her being alone in the house. Mrs. Conway's expression shifts slightly, and I can tell she's debating how much to share. "Well," she says, lowering her voice conspiratorially, "I did notice she's been having a lot of visitors lately. That friend of hers, Fiona, has been by several times, and there was a man in a loud car who stopped by yesterday evening." "A man?" "Big fellow. Drove one of those muscle cars that wake up the whole neighborhood. He didn't stay long, but Erica seemed to know him." "Probably one of Fiona's friends," I suggest. "She's been going through some relationship drama." "Maybe." Mrs. Conway doesn't look convinced. "But he came by himself, and Fiona wasn't here." I thank Mrs. Conway for keeping an eye on things and head toward the house, making sure she sees me go inside. But instead of staying, I slip out the back door and return to my car. The seed is planted. Mrs. Conway will be watching more carefully now, and when she sees TJ's Charger in my driveway again, she'll remember our conversation. And Mrs. Conway's observations have a way of spreading through the neighborhood faster than a virus. That evening, I position myself where I can watch both the house and TJ's apartment complex. Sure enough, around 8 o'clock, Erica's Honda pulls into TJ's parking lot. She's carrying an overnight bag, which suggests she's planning to stay the night. Probably figured this would be the perfect time to comfort TJ after his bad day at work. I wait until she's inside, then drive to a nearby hardware store and purchase a few supplies: spray paint, a box of chalk, and a package of sticky notes. TJ's Charger is parked in its usual spot, and the apartment complex is quiet. I work quickly, using the spray paint to write "cheater" across his windshield in large, bold letters. Then I use the chalk to decorate his car with additional commentary about his character and professional ethics. Nothing profane, just honest assessments like "home wrecker" and "liar" and "ask your wife where I've been." The sticky notes go on every surface I can reach, each one containing a different message. Your clients deserve better. How many marriages have you ruined? Karma is coming. The final touch is a box of enhancement pills that I leave on his hood with a note. Thought you might need these for your next performance review. I'm back in my car and driving away within 10 minutes just as lights start coming on in nearby apartments. Tomorrow morning, TJ and Erica are going to wake up to a very public reminder that their secret isn't as safe as they thought. But the real show will happen when TJ discovers his vandalized car and inevitably loses his temper in front of an audience. And thanks to the flyers I distributed yesterday, that audience will already know exactly why someone might want to humiliate him. I drive back to the motel, feeling better than I have in months. Erica and TJ wanted to play games behind my back, but they're about to learn that I'm much better at this than they are. The war is just getting started. Murphy's Bar at 3 in the afternoon is exactly the kind of place where a man can sit in peace and watch his carefully laid plans unfold. Raj is wiping down glasses and pretending not to notice that I've been nursing the same beer for 45 minutes while staring at my phone. "You're starting to worry me," he says finally. That's the same expression you had right before you reprogrammed the office printer to only print pictures of cats. That was a legitimate troubleshooting technique. Sure it was. So what's the latest development in the Erica situation? I show him the video I recorded this morning from across the street at TJ's apartment complex. It shows TJ discovering his decorated charger, and his reaction is everything I hoped it would be. The man absolutely loses his mind. He starts screaming at no one in particular, kicking his own car and waving his arms like he's trying to flag down aircraft. Several neighbors come out to see what the commotion is about, and they get a front row seat to TJ's complete meltdown. The best part comes when Erica emerges from the apartment, takes one look at the vandalized car, and immediately starts looking around like she's trying to spot surveillance cameras. She knows this isn't random, and the paranoia on her face is absolutely priceless. "This is either brilliant or completely insane," Raj observes after watching the video. "Possibly both. I prefer to think of it as creative problem-solving. And what's your next creative solution?" Before I can answer, my phone buzzes with a text from Stan. "Got something interesting. Meet me at the usual place." The usual place is a diner called Mel's that serves coffee strong enough to wake up people in the next county. Stan is already there when I arrive, looking pleased with himself and slightly more disheveled than usual. "Your boy TJ is having a very bad week," he announces without preamble. The gym's corporate office got several complaints about his conduct with clients. Apparently, someone distributed some very detailed information about his extracurricular activities. Imagine that. Yeah, well, it gets better. I talked to Marta, that co-worker of your wife's you mentioned. Seems she's been doing some investigating of her own. What kind of investigating? Stan slides a manila envelope across the table. The kind that involves following people around with a camera and asking uncomfortable questions. Inside the envelope are photos of Erica and TJ together at various locations around town. Restaurants, hotels, his apartment complex, even the gym parking lot. The timestamps show they were taken over several weeks. Marta's been suspicious about Erica's behavior for a while, Stan explains. When you approached her about the birthday party, it got her thinking. She started paying attention to Erica's schedule, noticed the discrepancies between what Erica claimed to be doing and where she actually was. Why would Marta go to all this trouble? Apparently your wife's been taking credit for Marta's work and undermining her with their boss. Marta sees this as an opportunity to settle some scores. The photos are damning. Erica and TJ holding hands, kissing, entering hotels together. The kind of evidence that would make any divorce attorney very happy. There's more, Stan continues. Marta made copies of some emails from Erica's work account. Nothing illegal. They share a computer system, and Erica left herself logged in. But some of those emails are to TJ, sent during work hours, and they're not discussing fitness routines. He hands me printouts of email exchanges between Erica and TJ. The content is explicit enough to make me uncomfortable, but more importantly, it's all sent from Erica's company email account during business hours. Marta's planning to share these with their boss, Stan says. Apparently, the company has strict policies about using work resources for personal business, especially personal business of this nature. When? Tomorrow's staff meeting. She's going to present them as evidence that Erica's been misusing company time and resources. I study the emails, noting the timestamps and content. Erica's been incredibly stupid about this, leaving a digital trail that connects her affair directly to her workplace misconduct. There's one more thing, Stan says, pulling out his phone. I've been monitoring TJ's social media accounts. He posted this about an hour ago. The post is a rant about crazy people and harassment and taking things too far. TJ is clearly rattled by recent events, and he's making the mistake of airing his grievances publicly. But the comments section is where things get interesting. Several women have responded with their own stories about TJ's behavior, and it's clear that my flyer campaign has encouraged other victims to speak up. Looks like TJ's reputation is taking a beating, I observe. Gets better. The gym's corporate office called this morning. TJ's been suspended pending an investigation into client complaints. Suspended? Without pay. Apparently, enough clients complained about inappropriate conduct that corporate had no choice but to take action. I lean back in my chair, processing this information. TJ's income has been cut off. His reputation is ruined, and his girlfriend's about to face her own professional consequences. The dominoes are falling exactly as planned. What's your next move? Stan asks. I think it's time for a more direct approach. That evening, I drive to Murphy's bar and position myself where I can see both the entrance and TJ's usual table. According to Amber, he comes here most nights to drink and complain about his problems. Sure enough, TJ shows up around 8 o'clock, looking like a man who's had several bad days in a row. His clothes are wrinkled, his hair is messy, and he's got the kind of aggressive energy that comes from feeling cornered. He orders a whiskey and immediately starts complaining to the bartender about his recent troubles, the vandalism, the complaints at work, the suspension, the women who won't leave him alone. It's like someone's got it out for me, he says, loud enough for half the bar to hear. Probably some jealous husband who can't handle that his wife wants a real man. That's my cue. I walk over to his table and sit down without being invited. TJ looks up, confused and slightly annoyed. Do I know you? He asks. Not yet, but you know my wife, Erica Garrison. The color drains from TJ's face, but he recovers quickly. I don't know what you're talking about. Sure you do. CrossFit iron, personal training sessions, late-night workouts. Ring any bells? TJ stands up, trying to use his size to intimidate me. I think you've got the wrong guy, pal. I don't think so. See, I've been doing some research on you, Travis. Or do you prefer TJ? Either way, you've got quite a reputation around town. You need to leave, now. Actually, I think I'll stay for a drink. Raj, can I get a beer? Raj nods and brings me a bottle, clearly enjoying the show. TJ looks around the bar, probably trying to decide whether to make a scene or just leave. You know what I find interesting about you, TJ? I continue conversationally. You talk a big game about being a real man, but you make your living seducing other men's wives. That doesn't sound very manly to me. You don't know anything about me. I know you're suspended from your job. I know you're behind on rent. I know you drive a car you can't afford and live in an apartment that smells like protein powder and desperation. TJ's hands clench into fists, and I can see him struggling with the decision to take a swing at me. The smart move would be to walk away, but TJ doesn't strike me as particularly smart. I also know, I continue, that you've been telling people I'm abusive to my wife. That's an interesting strategy. Seduce a married woman, then spread lies about her husband to justify your behavior. Your wife came to me, TJ says, his voice rising. She's the one who wanted something more exciting than what she had at home. Maybe, but she's not the first married woman you've targeted, is she? I've talked to some of your previous clients. They had some fascinating stories to share. TJ finally loses his temper. He takes a swing at me, but he's drunk and angry and telegraphs the punch from across the county. I step aside, and his momentum carries him into an empty table. The crash brings Raj and 2 other customers running, and TJ finds himself on the floor surrounded by people who've just witnessed him throw the first punch at a man who was sitting calmly drinking a beer. "I think you should leave," Raj tells TJ, helping him to his feet. "And don't come back until you can control yourself." TJ looks around the bar at the faces staring back at him. Everyone's seen him lose his temper and attack someone who was just talking to him. His reputation takes another hit, and this time there are witnesses. "This isn't over," he tells me as Raj escorts him toward the door. "Yes, it is," I reply. "You just don't know it yet." After TJ leaves, I finish my beer and chat with Raj about the evening's entertainment. Word of TJ's public meltdown will spread through the neighborhood by tomorrow, adding another layer to his growing reputation as an unstable troublemaker. But the real payoff will come tomorrow, when Marta shares Erica's emails with their boss, and Erica discovers that her secret affair has become very public knowledge at her workplace. I drive home to the motel, planning my next move. Erica and TJ are both feeling the pressure now, but they haven't seen anything yet. The best is still to come. The Riverside Motel's continental breakfast consists of stale donuts, coffee that could strip paint, and a newspaper that's 3 days old. But it's quiet, and quiet is exactly what I need while I plan the evening's entertainment. My phone has been buzzing all morning with updates from Stan and Marta about yesterday's staff meeting. Erica's professional life is currently in free fall, and according to Stan, she's been making increasingly desperate phone calls to TJ, who's apparently too busy dealing with his own problems to provide much comfort. Stan calls while I'm pretending to eat a donut that tastes like cardboard. "Your wife's having a very bad day," he reports cheerfully. Marta dropped those emails on her boss yesterday, and HR opened an investigation. Erica's been suspended pending review. Suspended? Without pay, just like her boyfriend. Apparently using company resources for explicit personal communications is frowned upon in the corporate world. I can't help but smile. What's Erica's reaction? Panic, mostly. She knows someone's been feeding information to her enemies, but she can't figure out who or how. She's been calling TJ constantly, but he's not answering. Probably too busy trying to figure out how he's going to pay rent without a job. Any word on TJ's situation? Gets better. The gym's corporate office completed their investigation. TJ's been terminated for violating company policies regarding client relationships. They're also considering legal action for damages to their reputation. Terminated? Effective immediately. Security escorted him out of the building this morning. Apparently, he didn't take it well. I lean back in my chair, savoring the moment. Both Erica and TJ are now unemployed, under investigation, and facing the collapse of everything they thought they'd built together. There's one more thing, Stan continues. Marta heard through the office gossip network that Erica's been bragging to people about being pregnant. That stops me cold. Pregnant? That's what Marta heard. But here's the interesting part. Erica's been telling different people different stories. Some hear she's 3 months along, others hear 2 months, and a few got the impression it just happened. So she's lying. Or confused about the timeline. Either way, it sounds like she's trying to use a pregnancy to manipulate the situation. I process this information while finishing my terrible coffee. Erica's pregnancy claim is either a desperate lie or a complication I hadn't anticipated. Either way, it doesn't change the fundamental equation. She chose to cheat, lie, and humiliate me, and now she's facing the consequences. I need you to verify something, I tell Stan. Can you find out if Erica's actually pregnant, or if this is just another lie? I can try. Give me a day or two. After hanging up, I drive to a nearby electronics store and purchase a small digital recorder, the kind used for business meetings and interviews. Then I stop at a party supply store for some additional props. My plan for this evening requires careful timing and the right setting. I want Erica, TJ, Fiona, and her boyfriend Chris all in the same room at the same time, unaware that they're about to participate in the final act of their little drama. I call Erica from my burner phone, making sure to sound tired and stressed. "Hey, honey," I say. "I'm finally done with this Chicago nightmare. I'll be home tonight." "Tonight?" She sounds panicked. "I thought you weren't coming back until tomorrow." "Client meeting's wrapped up early. I should be there by 7. Want to go out for dinner? We need to catch up." I can't tonight. I already made plans with Fiona. Cancel them. I've been gone for a week, and I miss my wife." There's a long pause while Erica tries to figure out how to handle this development. She can't cancel her plans with TJ without raising questions, but she also can't ignore her supposedly returning husband. "How about tomorrow night?" she suggests. "Tonight's really important for Fiona. She's having a crisis with Chris." "Fine. But I want to spend some time together when I get home. We need to talk." "Talk about what?" "About us. About our marriage. About the future." Another pause. "Okay. We'll talk." I hang up and immediately call Fiona's number, which I found in Erica's phone contacts weeks ago. "Hi, Fiona. This is Nick, Erica's husband. I was hoping you could help me with something." "Oh, hi, Nick." Fiona sounds surprised to hear from me. "What's up?" "I just got back from Chicago and I wanted to surprise Erica with a romantic dinner tonight. But she said she's supposed to help you with some kind of crisis?" "Crisis?" Fiona sounds confused. "Something about problems with Chris? She said you really needed her support tonight." "I don't know what she's talking about. Chris and I are fine. We're actually supposed to meet her and some guy at that new restaurant downtown." Perfect. Fiona just confirmed that Erica's been lying about the nature of tonight's plans, and she inadvertently revealed that there's a fourth person involved. "Some guy?" I ask innocently. "Yeah, her personal trainer from the gym, TJ something. We're all having dinner together." "That sounds fun. What restaurant?" Fiona gives me the name and address, apparently not seeing any reason to be secretive about their plans. "Actually," I say, "would it be okay if I surprised Erica there? I could show up after you've had a chance to talk, maybe join you for dessert." "That would be so sweet. Erica will love that." "Great. What time should I show up?" "We're meeting at 8, so maybe come by around 9. I thank Fiona and hang up, amazed by how easy it is to manipulate people who aren't paying attention to their own lies. The restaurant is an upscale place called Bella Vista, the kind of establishment that caters to people who want to be seen as sophisticated and successful. It's also the kind of place where a scene would be particularly embarrassing for everyone involved. I arrive at 8:30 and request a table with a clear view of the dining room. The hostess seats me in a corner where I can observe without being easily noticed. Erica, TJ, Fiona, and Chris are already there, seated at a table near the center of the restaurant. They're deep in conversation, and from their body language, it's not a pleasant discussion. TJ looks like a man under siege. His clothes are wrinkled, his hair is unkempt, and he keeps checking his phone like he's expecting bad news. Erica keeps reaching across the table to touch his arm, but he pulls away each time. Fiona and Chris seem confused by the tension between their dinner companions. They keep trying to make conversation, but Erica and TJ are clearly more interested in their own drama than socializing. I activate the digital recorder in my pocket and walk over to their table. "Surprise!" I say cheerfully, pulling up an empty chair from a nearby table. The reaction is everything I hoped for. Erica goes completely pale, TJ starts to stand up like he's ready to run, and Fiona claps her hands together in delight. "Nick!" Fiona exclaims. "You made it! Erica's going to be so happy!" Erica looks like she's about to be sick. "Nick, what are you doing here?" "Fiona invited me, said you were all having dinner and I could join you for dessert." I sit down and signal the waiter. "I hope you don't mind me crashing the party." TJ is staring at me with the expression of a man who's just realized he's walked into a trap. Chris looks back and forth between everyone, clearly sensing tension but not understanding its source. So, I continue conversationally, you must be TJ. Erica's told me so much about her personal trainer. We should go, TJ says abruptly, starting to stand. Nonsense, I reply, gesturing for him to sit back down. We're just getting acquainted. Besides, I have some things I'd like to discuss with both of you. Erica finds her voice. Nick, this isn't a good time. Really? When would be a better time to talk about your affair? The words hang in the air like a bomb that hasn't exploded yet. Fiona's mouth falls open, Chris chokes on his wine, and TJ looks like he wants to crawl under the table. I don't know what you're talking about, Erica says, but her voice shakes. Sure you do. DiscreetConnections.com, ring any bells, Erica Fun 34, all those late-night workouts that weren't actually workouts? I pull out my phone and start reading from Erica's dating profile. Married but looking for excitement, seeking athletic men who know how to treat a lady right. That's you, isn't it, honey? Fiona looks at Erica with shock and growing anger. You've been cheating on Nick? It's not what it looks like, Erica says desperately. Really? Because it looks like you've been lying to everyone, including your best friend. Tell me, Fiona, did you know that Erica's been using you as her alibi? All those girls' nights where she supposedly came to comfort you, she was actually spending time with TJ here. Chris speaks up for the first time. Wait, you mean Erica hasn't been helping Fiona with relationship problems? Quite the opposite, I reply. She's been creating relationship problems, for everyone. TJ finally finds his voice. Look, man, I didn't know she was married when we first met. Bullshit, I say calmly. You specifically target married women. It's your thing. Ask Amber Chen if you don't believe me. TJ's face goes white at the mention of his ex-girlfriend's name. That's right. I talked to Amber, and Marta from Erica's office, and several of your former clients at the gym. You've got quite a reputation, TJ. I turn to Erica. And you, sweetheart, have been busy too, using company email to send explicit messages to your boyfriend. During work hours, on company equipment. How do you think that's going to look during your HR investigation? Erica starts crying, which draws attention from other diners. The restaurant is getting quieter as people notice the drama unfolding at our table. You're both suspended from your jobs, I continue. Both under investigation for professional misconduct. Both facing the consequences of thinking you were smarter than everyone else. Fiona stands up abruptly. I can't believe this. Erica, how could you lie to me like that? And use me to cover for your affair? Fiona, please. No. We're done. Chris, let's go. Fiona and Chris leave without another word, abandoning Erica and TJ to face the consequences of their deception alone. You're enjoying this, Erica says through her tears. Actually, I am. You spent months lying to my face, humiliating me, making me think I was the problem in our marriage. Now everyone knows the truth. TJ tries one more time to salvage the situation. Look, we can work this out. Nobody needs to get hurt here. Too late for that. You should have thought about consequences before you decided to wreck my marriage. I stand up and drop a 20 on the table. Dinner's on me. Consider it a going-away present. As I walk toward the exit, I can hear Erica calling my name, but I don't turn around. The digital recorder in my pocket has captured every word of the conversation, and by tomorrow, everyone in our social circle will know exactly what kind of people Erica and TJ really are. The trap has been sprung, and there's no way out. The Riverside County Summer Festival happens every year in Millfield Park, and it's exactly the kind of wholesome community event where everyone goes to see and be seen. Food trucks, craft booths, live music, and enough gossip to fuel the neighborhood for months. It's also the perfect place for a final confrontation. I've spent the past 3 days since the restaurant incident monitoring Erica and TJ's increasingly desperate attempts to salvage their situation. According to Stan, they've both been making frantic phone calls, trying to find new jobs, new apartments, and new ways to blame everyone except themselves for their problems. Erica's been leaving voicemails on my regular phone, alternating between tearful apologies and angry accusations. The pregnancy story has evolved too. Now she's claiming it's twins, and TJ is the father, and she needs my help because he's abandoned her. TJ, meanwhile, has been posting increasingly unhinged rants on social media about harassment and conspiracy theories. His latest post suggests that I've been stalking him and destroying his property, which is technically true but legally unprovable. But today is Saturday, and Saturday means the festival, and the festival means an audience. I arrive at the park around noon, when the crowd is thick enough to provide cover, but not so dense that movement becomes difficult. Mrs. Conway is working a booth for the Neighborhood Watch Committee, which means the local information network is fully operational. "Nick!" she calls out when she sees me. "How are you holding up, dear? I heard about your troubles with Erica." Word travels fast in a small community, especially when it involves scandal and betrayal. Mrs. Conway's expression is sympathetic, but also hungry for details. "I'm doing okay," I tell her, "taking things one day at a time. That's all you can do, and don't you worry about what people are saying. Everyone knows Erica's the one who made bad choices." "What are people saying?" Mrs. Conway leans closer, lowering her voice conspiratorially. "Well, Fiona's been telling everyone about that scene at the restaurant, and Marta from Erica's work has been sharing some very interesting stories about inappropriate emails." Perfect. The story is spreading exactly as I hoped, with multiple sources confirming the same basic facts. By now, everyone in our social circle knows that Erica cheated, lied, and got caught. "Has anyone seen Erica lately?" I ask casually. "Not since she got suspended from work, but I did see that boyfriend of hers yesterday driving around the neighborhood like he was looking for something. Or someone." I thank Mrs. Conway and continue through the festival, noting the looks and whispered conversations that follow my progress. Some people offer sympathetic nods, others seem curious about the drama, but everyone clearly knows who I am and what's been happening. Around 2 o'clock I spot them. Erica and TJ are standing near the dunking booth, having what looks like an intense argument. She's gesturing animatedly while he keeps shaking his head and looking around like he wants to escape. They both look terrible. Erica's usually perfect appearance is disheveled, her makeup smudged, her clothes wrinkled. TJ looks like he hasn't slept in days, and his body language suggests a man who's reached the end of his rope. I position myself where I can observe without being seen, using a food truck as cover. Their argument is getting louder, drawing attention from other festival goers. "You promised you'd help me," Erica says, loud enough for people nearby to hear. "You said we were in this together." "That was before everything fell apart," TJ replies. "I can't even help myself right now." "What about the baby?" "What baby? You've told me 3 different stories about being pregnant. I don't believe any of them." Several people have stopped to watch the drama unfold. Public arguments are always entertaining, especially when they involve people whose personal business has already become neighborhood gossip. "You're just going to abandon me?" Erica's voice is getting shrill. "After everything we've been through?" "We haven't been through anything. We had some fun. It got complicated. Now it's over." That's when Erica notices me. Our eyes meet across the crowd, and her expression shifts from desperation to fury. "You!" she shouts, pointing at me like I'm some kind of criminal. "This is all your fault." She starts walking toward me, pushing through the crowd, with TJ trailing behind her. People step aside, sensing that something dramatic is about to happen. "You destroyed my life," she continues, her voice carrying across the park. "You ruined everything." I stand my ground, letting her approach. The crowd is growing larger, and I can see people taking out their phones to record whatever's about to happen. "I didn't ruin anything, Erica. You did that all by yourself. You're a pathetic excuse for a husband. No wonder I had to find someone else." The crowd murmurs at this public admission of adultery. Erica's just confirmed everything people have been gossiping about, and she's doing it in front of half the neighborhood. Maybe, I reply calmly. But at least I'm not unemployed, suspended from my job, and abandoned by my affair partner. TJ steps forward, probably feeling like he needs to defend whatever's left of his reputation. You think you're so smart, don't you? Sneaking around, playing games, trying to destroy people's lives. I didn't have to destroy your life, TJ. You did that yourself when you decided to make a living seducing married women. At least, I know how to satisfy a woman. The crowd is eating this up. Public drama involving adultery, unemployment, and personal insults is exactly the kind of entertainment people come to small-town festivals to see. Is that why you got fired from your job? I ask. For satisfying too many clients? TJ loses his temper completely. He charges at me like an angry bull, but anger makes people stupid, and TJ was never particularly smart to begin with. I step aside at the last moment, and TJ's momentum carries him straight toward the dunking booth. He hits the target mechanism with his shoulder, and the volunteer sitting on the platform, some teenager raising money for the baseball team, plunges into the water with a splash. The crowd erupts in laughter and applause. TJ surfaces from the dunking booth soaked and humiliated, while the teenager he accidentally dunked climbs out laughing and high-fiving his friends. "Nice aim!" someone shouts from the crowd. TJ tries to climb out of the dunking booth, but the sides are slippery, and he keeps falling back into the water. Each failed attempt draws more laughter from the growing audience. Erica, meanwhile, is so focused on her rage that she doesn't notice the crowd or the phones recording her meltdown. "You think you've won?" she screams at me. "You think you're better than me?" I think I'm honest. That's apparently a higher standard than you're used to. She swings at me, but like her boyfriend, she telegraphs the move from across the county. I step back, and her momentum carries her forward into the pie-eating contest table. She lands face first in a chocolate cream pie, then stumbles backward into a banana cream pie, then finally sits down hard in what appears to be apple pie a la mode. The crowd's laughter reaches a crescendo as Erica sits there covered in pie filling, looking like a dessert explosion. Someone starts a slow clap, and soon half the festival is applauding the most entertaining show of the day. TJ finally manages to climb out of the dunking booth, dripping wet and looking like a drowned rat. He and Erica stand there soaked and covered in pie respectively, while dozens of phones record their public humiliation. "I think we're done here," I say loud enough for the crowd to hear. As I start to walk away, Erica makes one last desperate attempt to salvage her dignity. "Everyone makes mistakes," she shouts after me. "I'm sorry. Can't we work this out?" I turn back to face her, and the crowd grows quiet, waiting to see how this drama will resolve. "Some mistakes can be forgiven," I say. "But what you did wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. You chose to cheat. You chose to lie. You chose to humiliate me while pretending to be my loving wife. Those aren't mistakes, Erica. That's who you are." The crowd murmurs approval. In a community where marriage and commitment still mean something, adultery isn't taken lightly. "And TJ," I continue, addressing the soaked man standing next to my pie-covered wife, "you chose to make a living destroying other people's marriages. Now you get to live with the consequences." I walk away through the crowd, accepting pats on the back and words of support from neighbors who've watched this drama unfold over the past weeks. Behind me, I can hear Erica crying and TJ arguing with someone about getting a towel. Officer Avery, a cop I went to high school with, intercepts me near the parking lot. "Nick," he says, "everything okay here?" "Just a difference of opinion about marriage vows," I reply. He glances back toward the dunking booth, where TJ is still dripping and Erica is trying to wipe pie from her face. "Looks like they lost the argument." Sometimes people need to learn that actions have consequences. Officer Avery nods. "Well, from what I saw, they started the physical confrontation. You were just defending yourself. But maybe it's time to go home and let things cool down. Already on my way." I drive back to the motel, pack my few belongings, and check out. The war is over, and it's time to reclaim my life. My phone buzzes with a text from Raj. Saw the video online, you're famous. Also, your wife and her boyfriend are trending on social media. Our Piegate is apparently a thing now. I smile and delete Erica's number from my contacts. Some stories end with reconciliation and forgiveness. This one ends with a dunking booth, a pie fight, and the satisfaction of knowing that sometimes karma just needs a little push. The last thing I do before driving home is block TJ's number too. I won't be needing to contact either of them again. In my rearview mirror, I can see the festival continuing, people enjoying their Saturday afternoon, kids playing games, families spending time together. Normal people living normal lives without the drama and deception that's consumed the past few weeks. Tomorrow, I'll start looking for a new apartment, maybe in a different neighborhood where I can start fresh without the constant reminders of my failed marriage. But tonight, I'm going home to my house now, to sleep in my own bed and plan for a future that doesn't include cheating wives or muscle-bound personal trainers. The war is over. I won.